What is going on, guys? Just Connor here, bringing you guys back another Synchron deck profile. And without further ado, let's get right into this thing. Okay, first off, I am playing 3 Stardust Synchron. Let me get these organized here, not all a mess. So this guy is the heart and soul of the deck. Basically, he is, well, next to Junk Synchron, if I'm going to be honest. So I've seen people cut this down to 2, and I understand it, but I also don't. Honestly, I really think you should play this card at 3. It is a fantastic card. If you have it in your opening hand, you know, it's not a bad thing. Having this card at 3, I promise you, you will never regret it. So if you don't know what it does, essentially, when it is normal or special summoned, you can add a Stardust card from your deck to your hand. And the technicality of it is it has to either mention Stardust Dragon in its text, I believe, in order for you to be able to add it to your hand, but that's not a big deal. It is plenty for what this deck needs. So anyway, moving on, I would definitely keep running this guy at 3, but that is just my humble opinion on this guy. The obvious 3 is the triple Junk Synchron. So Junk Synchron is the legitimately heart and soul of this deck. This guy is what makes all of your plays go through. So if you don't know what Junk Synchron does, which I'm going to assume you do, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Junk Synchron, when he is normal summoned, he will special summon a level 2 or lower tuner from the graveyard, and that is how you go into Junk Speeder. And yeah, I have seen people cut this down to 2 or even 1 and just run 3 Revolution Synchrons, which I definitely do not agree. Maybe 2 of them. I'm going to try some play testing, but I really genuinely think that Junk Synchron needs to stay at 2, if not 3, because there are so many plays involving this guy that you typically will end up using all 3 in one duel. Well, sometimes, not 100% of the time, but, you know, there's been a lot of times I have gone through all 3 in one turn. That could change with the additional level 3 in the deck with Revolution, but only playtesting can tell. And so far, I can't do that with IRL decks, and I don't want to play Master Duel right now. So, yeah, three of this until Revolution comes out, and I can maybe test 2. But I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty positive this is going to stay at 3. Triple Junk Converter. This guy is one of the best level 2s in the deck. Well, actually, now there's a lot of good level 2s, and they're all pretty dang good. So essentially, Junk Tuner, you can ditch him and a tuner or a Synchron monster from your hand. Is it tuner? Yep, it's 1 tuner. This guy or a tuner, and you can add a Synchron monster from your deck to your hand. So a lot of the times, I'll either use this with Junk Synchron or like any of the extra tuner monsters in the deck to search out Junk Synchron. And those are typically the hands that you will go through all 3, is if you use Junk Converter and Junk Synchron, search your second Junk Synchron, and then use your second Junk Synchron to bring this back. Synchro off. He can bring back a Junk monster, or, yeah, he can special summon a tuner monster in defense position when he's sent to the graveyard. So sometimes you'll use that, but not always. But like I said, synchro with him to the graveyard, and, bring out Junk Speeder. My apologies. And then that will bring out the 3rd Junk Synchron. So that is why you need 3 Junk Synchron. For when you have this and Junk Synchron in your hand, it's the only tuner that you can ditch to the graveyard with him. So yeah, this is a very important level 2, and I will definitely be keeping this at 3. Triple Doppel Warrior. This should go without say. This is the best level 2. Junk Converter is very good. A lot of the level 2s are very good, but this is, without a doubt, the best level 2. So, essentially, when this guy is used as tuner material or synchro material, he brings out 2 tokens, and it's not once per turn. So you can recycle him like 2-3 times in a turn. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend running this guy at 3, absolutely. Double Assault Synchron. This is the newest change to the deck. So this guy is freaking phenomenal. He opens up plays so well. He is excellent. Essentially, he can banish himself lose 700 point, or he can banish himself and bring back a level 7 or 8 that is destroyed or banished, I believe. And you can also pay 700 life points to special summon him from the graveyard. And that is excellent. That is a great extender for this deck. That is one of the exact things that this deck needed. So, yeah, this guy is phenomenal. Well worth the 700 life points. He extends so much. And he's just such a... apologies. He's such a blessing to this deck. And him being at 2 helps the deck's survivability and play longer, like more drawn out matches. 1 Synchron Carrier. This might actually get bumped up to 2, but with Ready, Set, Duel, it actually makes this guy a lot more consistent, and you don't necessarily need to. So there is one card that I will consider taking out for a second one of these, and you'll see that in a second. But essentially, if he's on the field when 2 other or plus monsters are used for synchro material, he'll bring out a token, but it's not used too often. He's just a good level 2 tuner that can be brought out to the field. And like I said, with Ready, Set, Duel, he's been made a lot more consistent. So honestly, I don't think 2 is necessary. But I guess you guys find out eventually if I ever do decide to put 2 in. 1 Caligo Claw Crow. So this guy can special summon himself on the field, and that's about it. So this is the card that I was talking about, being a second Synchron Carrier. But like I said, Synchron Carrier is so much more consistent because of Ready, Set, Duel. I might consider just dropping this card because this is a 47 card deck, and I kind of want to get it down to 44 to 45 so I can see the 3 ofs more consistently. But this way I also see my bricks a lot less and the deck still operates. So if you took this out, and there's 4 other cards I'm going to show you later that you could possibly take out, it'll take this down to like a 43, 42 card deck. And yeah, I'll explain that when we get there. But honestly, I like how this deck is set up. I know 47 sounds like a lot. I even thought about jumping it up to 50 and just adding in like 3 Droll and Lockbirds or 3 Ash Blossoms. But as of right now, the deck is running pretty smoothly, and I think this guy is funny, so I like playing him. 1 Stardust Trail for your Stardust Dragon plays. This is a great card, and yeah, you only need 1. I wouldn't run 2. I think everyone knows that, but nonetheless, still a great card to extend your plays. 1 Converging Wheels Dragon. This is essentially to bring out Majestic Shooting Star Dragon. If you draw it and there's a level 7 or 8 Synchro Dragon on the field, he can special summon himself. So yeah, I wish we had a holo version of this. And I also thought about playing the OG Majestic Dragon because Synchron Overtake can special summon it. So there's that. I think I'm going to playtest that. I haven't playtested it yet, but I've heard some people have success with it, and I'm just going to give it a try at some point. But for now, whoops, this guy, it gets the job done. 2 Jet Synchron. 3 is overkill. 2 is just fine, because if you have 1 in your hand, you can still summon 1 to the field out of your deck. And yeah, I know his effect is once per duel, but it doesn't really come up. But 2 gives the deck better survivability and better probability, so I definitely would recommend keeping this at 2. Level 1s, we have Turbo Booster, Jester Court, and 1 Baby Mud Dragon. So I considered swapping this out for a second Jester Court, because Jester Court does the same thing that Turbo Booster does, but better. But I have the Turbo Booster in here because yusei and Anime Pro Tag power, and I blame this card for this deck running so well, just because of yusei fuedo. Basically, if you have normal summoned already, and yeah, you can just special summon him. He's a free special summon if you already used your normal summon. And then if your opponent's monster battled one of your monsters, you can tribute this card and destroy your opponent's monster. But that literally never comes up. You only use him as Synchro Material Extender. Jester Confit. The reason that I have considered bumping him up to 2 is because he can just straight up special summon himself. There is no conditions. He just brings himself out. And at the end of the turn, you target himself and one of your opponent's cards and bounce back. So if you go second and you get hand trapped and he's still on the field, that can be a plus, or like not necessarily a plus, but a not as bad situation. So that if you get like hand trapped and he's stuck on the field, then yeah, it gives you an option. But I'm gonna be honest, that has yet to come up. So it's just like a theory, and it's a niche situation that I've thought about. You know, what if I have this, but I wish I had this? It really doesn't matter as long as you have one in your hand, because you're just gonna use it for synchro material. And chances are, if you're playing this deck, you're going first. Like if you win the coin toss, I would end up going first. So your opponent's not gonna have any monsters on the field. Moving on to Baby Mud Dragon, I run this instead of Brotar because this guy can be used as a tuner or a non-tuner. So essentially, if I want to go into level 2 with him with another level 1 or anything of that, if I want to go into, let's say I want to go into Shaman, right? I can use Baby Mud Dragon and Jet Synchron and go into it, even though they're both tuners. So Baby Mud Dragon is my little secret tech card that I haven't seen very many people play. But I do recommend you guys giving it a try. I don't think you will regret it. I do run the Fire Ant and Dawnwalker package. These are the 4 cards that I was talking about you possibly being able to drop to get this down to like a 42 card deck. So the reason I play these is because 1, I wanted the deck to hide the bricks more often. And 2, if you do get hand trapped and you just have this and one other card in your hand, you can still go into Stardust Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon or Excel Stardust Dragon, whatever the hell. You can just go into that, and you'll still probably have a level 2 in the graveyard for you to bring out and Synchro Summon into a level 10. So, in theory, which this has come up a couple times, this card is like a 2-card combo, but it is a lifesaver. If you get hand trapped, nibbed, you can extend and just have a 25 beat stick on the field and then go into Disputer. So, yeah, I recommend keeping them, but if you really want to get this deck down to as low of a count as possible, then you could cut these guys. For hand traps, I played triple Nib and double Swords of Concealing. So, my choices in this is this deck tends to struggle with like Cashier and things of that sort. I'm going to keep it like that. Things of that sort. So anyway, my reasons behind this deck loses pretty heavily to monster effects that can like negate and all of that. So Nib is my out to that for me to be able to play if I'm going second. Swords of Concealing Light does the same thing by flipping all monsters face down. I thought about running this at 3 and then cutting Nib entirely for like Ash or Droll, my bad. Or anything of the sort. Even Ash and Droll I thought about. So that way I would add 6 cards, it'd be a 50 smooth deck. And, you know, no Nib, it'd be Ash and like Droll and Lockbird, something like that. But honestly, I like this little setup. 5 hand traps is not too shabby. But if you feel like there's a better setup, then feel free to let me know. I think Lightning Storms could be pretty decent. Or Triple Tactics, things like that. But for now, this is a pretty solid hand trap setup. Moving on to the spells, we have Triple Tuning. This basically adds any tuner monster to your deck, and then you send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. And sometimes you'll use this to add in Junk Synchron, and then you'll mill like Junk Converter, or my favorite is when I have milled Doppel Warrior. So those are fantastic, but sometimes you do get the little poo mills like Baby Mud Dragon or one of your level 1s. But honestly, it's not that bad. Sometimes you even get a Stardust Synchron in there, and that's another reason I say run 3, because if that gets in the graveyard early, you can use that effect early to tribute summon himself by tributing himself off of the one that was summoned off of Junk Speeder. Are you following me? Junk Speeder summons the 4 synchros, one of those, or the 4 or 5 tuners. One of them is Stardust Synchron. So if you have this, and then you add some, well, yeah. The other Stardust Synchron will already be in the graveyard. So you can tribute the one that Junk Speeder summoned, bring it back, and then get its effect off for Stardust Trail if you want to go that route. But yeah, a lot of cool things you can do with this deck, a lot of different options. On your mark, get set, duel. I run 3 of them. I have a love-hate relationship with this ratio because you want to see this card as soon as possible, but if you see a second or God forbid a third copy, it is totally dead. So that is my only epiphany. Basically, you play this card, and then you can add a Synchron monster to your deck, and this is the only card that searches non-tuner Synchron monsters, which is what we needed. The only thing that sucks is the secondary, well, not even the secondary effect. You can't control any other cards to activate this. So you have a setup field, and you draw this, it is literally a dead card. You cannot activate it. But the counters are pretty cool sometimes because you can just tribute the card and then, you know, draw with those counters. And if your board gets wiped and you still survive and you have this, it can be useful. But, like, I think that's only happened to maybe once, if that. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm still going to run this at 3 because I want to see it as soon as possible. If I could run it at 1, I would, but then I'd never see it. And you want to see this, so 3 it is. Triple Synchron Overtake. I hate this card. So, the reason I hate this card is because it makes you run Junk Archer or Junk Warrior in the extra deck. And that is a wasted extra deck space. So, it really irritates me that, like, I have to run Junk Synchron for this to work. Because, like, or not Junk Synchron, Junk Warrior. Because I never summon Junk Warrior. It is such a niche pain in the butt. But maybe once Revolution comes out, it'll be a little bit easier. But I'm not going to lie, I also do plan on trying to cut this card for Revolution Synchron. So that way I can cut Junk Warrior out of my extra deck and have that extra space. But then again, that would throw off the whole Majestic Dragon play that I was thinking about. But I'm not too sure yet. We'll find out when we get there. So for now, this is how the deck is set up. And this card needs to unfortunately be ran at 3. With the Junk Warrior in the extra deck. 1 Stardust Illumination and Arrive in Light. I am playing both because there are times that I have ended up with this in my hand or vice versa, and then I can just search the other and I have like double extender plays. And like I said, with 3 Stardust Synchrons, if you use this to bring out Majestic Shooting Star Dragon, and then like next turn you end up drawing a Stardust Synchron, you can literally play it, search this copy, and then bring Stardust Trail to the graveyard, and then pop off from there. So, yeah, I definitely recommend playing 2 of these, 1 of each of these guys. I've seen people only play 1 or the other, and they'll cut this if they are playing, not playing Arrive in Light. And if they're playing Arrive in Light, they'll cut this, but I really don't recommend that. Through playtesting, 1 of each, perfectly fine, if not optimal. 1 Black Garden. This is to extend your plays. This is actually pretty great. When you special summon a monster, it will special summon a plant token with 800 attack and defense to your opponent's graveyard or to their field. So then essentially what you do is when you go into your bigger synchro boss, you will then tribute this, or you'll play this right before you go into him, bring him out, and then you'll play this, or you'll play this, bring him out. It'll send a token to your opponent's field, tribute them, and then bring back Doppel Warrior. So that's one of the like 2-3 ways that you can bring out Doppel Warrior. But the only thing that sucks about this card is it loves to end up in my hand without having to be searched. 1 Rhoda, Reinforcements of the Army. This is just to help search warriors in the deck. Surprisingly, there's a lot of warriors. Foolish Burial. Might cut this because I never end up with it in my hand anyway. But this is to get a level 2 in the graveyard or Stardust Synchron. And last but not least, 1 Called by the Grave because we like our plays to go through. And that is it for the deck. Moving on to the extra deck from here. 1 Celestial Star Shaman. So this extra deck is going to look pretty similar. There's a little bit of changes. 1 Martial Metal Marcher. I would love to be able to cut this card, but honestly, he's come up in multiple different situations that he was the only thing I could go into. So, unfortunately for now, he is staying. 1 Junk Warrior, the bane of my existence. This is simply for Synchron Overtake. Sorry if you heard that. My cat's losing his mind all of a sudden. 1 Excel Synchron. This is for level manipulation and to get you further into your plays. This is Garden Rose Maiden, I believe. Yes. Essentially, she searches out your black rose garden, and then she can also bring back a level 7 or 8 dragon synchro monster. So most of the time, I will end up going into Crystal Dragon and then using Crystal Wing Dragon, and then I will use Crystal Wing Dragon to go into shooting Majestic Star Dragon, and Garden Rose Maiden will end up bringing that guy back, shooting Crystal Wing Dragon. I can banish this and bring back Crystal Wing. So that is fantastic, and I love doing that because after the Stardust Dragons, and, well, I really like the Rose Dragons, but yeah, Clear Wing Synchro Dragon is one of my favorite dragon monsters. 1 TG Hyper Librarian, this is just to keep you drawing, but yeah, you go into this basically like a lot, and then you just draw a bunch of cards, and then when you're ready, you just send him off. Typically, I typically send him off for a big synchro monster like Blazar. 1 Junk Speeder, Heart and Soul of the deck. I honestly thought about playing this at 2. Well, I did play this at 2 for a while, but then I ended up cutting it for the Garden Rose Maiden, which I don't regret. I ran 2 because, 1, if it got like ashed or something, I could go into another one next turn. But honestly, like, I like having the Black Garden or the Black Rose Garden more. So yeah, we're just gonna keep him at 1 for now. 1 Stardust Charge Warrior. This guy is just the best level 6 to go into. It's him or Coral Dragon, but Coral Dragon's a tuner, and we already have too many tuners on deck. So yeah, this guy gets you an extra draw phase. Or not an extra draw phase, he gets you an extra draw, and then you can just... Typically, I'll end up using him to go into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So anyway, Black Rose Dragon, you could run a Power Tool Dragon, and then you could also run 3 Living Fossils, and that can extend your plays that way. So I thought about doing that, switching this out for Power Tool Dragon, and then just adding in 3 Living Fossils and having a smooth 50 deck. But like I said, I'm trying to keep it lower than 50 for now. And Black Rose Dragon can be pretty good to nuke the field sometimes if you need it. The bad boy himself, Crystal Wing. Sorry, I'm going to need to adjust this a little bit. There we go. 1 OG Stardust Dragon because yusei. 1 XL Synchro Stardust Dragon because yusei. I'm just kidding. We have the OG Stardust Dragon because the XL brings it out, and we have the XL because it is a freaking fantastic card that when Synchro Summon brings out a level 2 Synchron, a level 2 tuner from your graveyard. And then, during your opponent's turn, you can tribute it and bring out a level 10. Now, you can either do Dispeter, or you could do Rudy Rose Dragon, which I have in here just because this is a Synchron deck. If you want me to be honest, if I were to take this to locals, I'd cut this for Dispeter all the way. This is simply just because this is a yusei deck and I like Akiza. So moving on, we have Majestic Shooting Star Dragon. I love bringing this guy out. It's really cool when you can pull it off, which honestly with this deck is very easy. And last but not least, we have 1 Cosmic Blazer Dragon because yusei. This guy's actually just a really good card, but he can be kind of a pain to get out. But honestly, like, it is so satisfying when you pull this card off. But I don't know what I'm going to do with this setup when Cosmic Blazer Dragon comes out, because the Crimson Dragon, because I really like this setup. If I could cut maybe Metal Marcher and Junk Warrior, that would be pretty cool. I'd even consider cutting Excel Synchron, but Excel Synchron comes up very often, so I don't think I'd cut that. But yeah, I really like this setup. And there's, like, I have a hard time trying to change it. I do have a lot of other cards that you could, well, honorable mentions. Here are some of the honorable mentions. Shooting Riser Dragon, Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, the Power Tool Dragon. You could run this instead of shooting Majestic Star Dragon. but I wouldn't recommend it. There's really no point. Satellite Warrior, I wish I could fit him in here because using Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, you use another level 2 tuner and go into him, and then you can destroy a bunch of spell and trap cards, and then you have a 5k beat stick. But like the level 10 dragon's more optimal, especially when you play Disc Beater, because you can bring back Crystal Wing another way, or you can bring back another one of your monsters and extend, or you can bring back a bigger monster or any of the sort, and you still have a 3500 beat stick. So overall, it's more worth it to play the level 10 dragon, in my opinion. And then you can play Shooting Star Dragon. This is if you play Shooting Quasar instead of Cosmic Blazer Dragon. You cut these two cards and play Shooting Quasar and Shooting Star, and it'll float a little bit better. And it'll get even stronger once Cosmic Blazer comes out, because you could have Cosmic Blazer and then go into Shooting Quasar, and then Shooting Quasar going into Shooting Star. So your opponent has to deal with 3 heavy hitter monsters. This guy has 3300 attack and can attack for each tuner you reveal from the top of your deck. Now, this card came out in like, what, 2011? That's not that bad for a 2011 card. Like, to be able to float and then end on a 3300 beat stick that can attack 5 times if you're lucky, that's not that bad, bro. But anyway, Stardust Cypher Divine Dragon, I only have this for my collection. I really wouldn't recommend playing this over the other guys. And then Shooting Quasar Dragon, this is to play, like I said, in case you don't want to play Cosmic Blazer. So yeah, here's the tokens I use for Doppel Warrior 2. But yeah, if there's anything you guys think I could improve on, or anything you guys want to see, let me know. I'm open ears. And yeah, if you watch a couple of my videos, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit at least 500. I think that would be pretty dope to do by at least, the end of the year. It's been slow growth, but growth is growth, and I appreciate every single one of you so much. So anyway, don't forget to like, and please consider subscribing, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. This has been Just Connor, and I'll see you guys next time.